So now that Season 2 of Midnight has finally released, there's a ton of new content and systems to go progress through, and even more so if you're an outdoor world player or a solo player, because there's been multiple new borrowed power systems added into this outside of all of the other systems you would already be progressing. One of the most important ones being the Corrosive Codex, which is a new borrowed power system that allows you to enable these new powers that work in any content as long as it's not a dungeon or a raid. So delves and all open world content, these powers will be active in, and these powers are very, very strong, but normally it seems this Corrosive Codex system would actually take a decent bit of time to fully progress through, because once you progress into the system enough, it allows you to then equip 2 powers at once instead of 1. But in this video, we're going to be going over a way to progress through the system and complete it absurdly quickly, and this may or may not be intended, but it is something that's very easy to do. And even if it isn't intended, I don't see the developers changing this at this point, and if they do, it's pretty much guaranteed that nobody would get in trouble for this, just because of how this works and how kind of simple it is. And a lot of people would be using this system in this way, whether they knew it could potentially be unintended or not. And there's pretty much only 2 things you're going to need for this method. You're going to need to progress your delve journey to level 2, which is very fast to do, and you're going to need a bunch of level 90 characters. The more level 90 characters you have, the faster you can complete the Corrosive Codex system, specifically through doing this. So once you've progressed your delver's journey into rank 2, you will then be able to go to Telemancer Astrandus, who is one of the delve vendors in the delver's area, and he will then sell you a bag that only costs 10 Voidlight Marls, so it's basically free. And when you open up this bag, it just gives you 6 corrosive souls. Now, this is only a one-time purchase bag, but what seems to be the thing that may not be intended is you can go on every level 90 character you have and buy this bag again. And it's the same cost, and it gives you 6 corrosive souls out of every single one of these bags. This very much seems to be something that you should only be able to obtain once across your account. As mentioned, you can get it on every level 90 character, and 6 corrosive souls per level 90, even if you don't have like a ton of level 90s, is a ridiculous amount of corrosive souls. And even if you don't have enough level 90 characters to complete your Corrosive Codex just through doing this, there's also a bunch of other stuff that is weekly based that you can add into this to then very quickly complete your Corrosive Codex. Like in one of my previous videos, I went over that if you go do the new layer boss, which is essentially the new system for world bosses where it's an instance boss, if you go defeat and loot that boss, it will give you 3 corrosive souls on every character you go complete that on. So in very little time, you can go get 9 corrosive souls per level 90 character you have. So even if you only have a handful of level 90s, just doing that will pretty quickly allow you to fully complete this system. And you can also just get corrosive souls from pretty much everything else. Prey can give you corrosive souls. Doing bountiful delves can give you corrosive souls. The new prey system in the new zone can also give you more corrosive souls. You can get it from the layer boss, like I mentioned. So tons of stuff can give you corrosive souls if you're looking for a bit more because you don't have a ton of level 90s to just very quickly complete it through this specific method. And on top of that, you don't actually have to fully unlock the Corrosive Codex to get the most out of it, because there are 12 different powers in the Corrosive Codex. They all take 8 corrosive souls to unlock, so that would be 96 souls total. But if you're just looking for the ability to be able to equip 2 of these powers at once, you only need to unlock 8 of the powers, so that's only 64 souls total. And just by unlocking the system, they also give you some souls. I think they just give you your first 8 souls pretty much free, so it's even less than that. But if you were trying to just get those 8 powers unlocked just by using this method we just talked about, which is to get the 6 corrosive souls just by buying these bags at a bunch of level 90 characters, you would need about 10 characters to just go and buy that bag. Or if you were trying to do this method and also the layer boss method, so to go and get the 9 souls per character, you would only need a little over 7 characters. And again, that's not even even counting in the 8 free souls you get right at the start. And then I think they give you a few additional souls for some of the stuff you're doing right at the start of unlocking the system. So you don't need a ton of level 90s. And this is only through this system and then the layer boss. You can also just go do any of the other content I mentioned and you'll be getting a bunch of corrosive souls. Like if you're trying to do this to make your delve runs more easy, you're going to be getting corrosive souls from doing your bountiful delves as well. I think it's 3 per bountiful delve if I'm not mistaken. And you can also go and do that on every character as well. This is just an absurdly fast method that is seeming to be unintended and is basically free to get you a ridiculous amount of those souls very quickly. Now, let's say you already farmed up a bunch of souls and you'll go over the amount of souls you actually need, or let's say you have a bunch of level 90 characters and you want to just keep buying these bags to get more corrosive souls. There is actually other uses for these. So first off, there is an NPC at the new underground area that you could go buy bags, which allows you to convert corrosive souls into corrosive coins, which is the currency for the new borrowed power skill tree that is specific to the coiled isle. So if you're trying to do a lot of content there and unlock that whole skill tree, I think it's 1 corrosive soul per 150 coins if I'm not mistaken. So that's a decent conversion rate, especially if you just have a ton of level 90s and could go get 6 free souls on each one of them. But on top of that, you can actually go to one of the other delve vendors in the delve area and you can convert 1 corrosive soul into 150 undercoins. Now, at a baseline, that's pretty good if you're trying to buy any of the stuff from vendors, like any of the cosmetics, or if you're, say, trying to buy the Nemesis item that allows you to just spawn in the Nemesis in your delve run for that week, you could use corrosive souls on those. But once you get rank 5 into the delver's journey, that vendor will also start spawning at the end of your delve runs that allows you to just buy gear from that vendor for undercoins. So you could pretty much fill out your gear sets through all of your characters pretty easily just by spending undercoins at that vendor at the end, because it randomizes what gears at that vendor for every run. So if you're still looking for different pieces you haven't gotten out of your delve run so far, you could just keep running delves until that vendor has the piece you're looking for, and you can do that through undercoins. And you're going to be getting undercoins from every delve run anyway. Again, if you have a ton of leftover corrosive souls or a bunch of level 90s to get more, that is a lot of corrosive souls for not a lot of work. So I would definitely recommend you go and get your delver journey to rank 2 and then go pick up these bags on every level 90 character you have, because if this is unintended, the most likely thing they will do for this is to just not change it. The second most likely thing they'll do is they'll just disable this from being able to be done further. The third most likely thing they'll do is they'll just relock the powers you obtained from buying all of these bags and getting these corrosive souls, but that most likely won't happen. More than likely, I think they won't touch this, or they'll just disable it from being able to be done further. So I think you're pretty much completely safe to go and do this. I don't think anybody's going to be getting in trouble for this. And if they end up removing all the souls you obtained through this, you'll have lost like 100 Void Light Morrow at most, which is basically nothing. So I would definitely recommend doing this. Remember, it's World of Warcraft, exploit early, and you're pretty much good to go most of the time, as long as it's not egregious. And this really isn't something that's that egregious either, especially since there's so many ways to get corrosive souls since season 2 has started. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.